My name is Tami. I work for the Perez Center for Peace. I've managed the sports department for the past 4 years.
I'm Suleiman Khatib from Ramallah, Director of the Al-Quds Association for Democracy and Dialogue.
It's true that the situation here is tough. The conflict isn't over, and unfortunately we don't see an end to it yet. But despite these circumstances, and the fact that politicians are trying to prevent the two sides from meeting, organisations and individuals, such as the ones at the Perez Center and Al-Quds, are trying to change the reality for the children. As far as we're concerned, this gives them a much more positive view of things. It's much more positive than any news item about the defence barrier, a checkpoint, a terrorist, or the next bomb.
The objective of the project is to give the children who live in poor and remote areas the chance to play football and make progress in the sport. We also want them to develop socially, intellectually and culturally, and to encourage openness by getting them to meet other children. Obviously, we want them to meet children from the other side to establish some balance, because we're living in an area of conflict. Therefore, when Palestinian and Israeli children meet through this program, we hope it will generate a better future for children from both sides.
This is because football is the most popular sport, one to which most of the world's population relates. And the love for the sport is something shared by both Israelis and Palestinians. This is why, when you use football, there's a very simple connection created between the two sides. This is a way of bringing them together, to create the basic foundation from which we can then continue forward.
We take them to meet international football stars, and they see the stadiums where they play and museums and other things like that related to major teams. This opens the minds of the kids and gives them a great opportunity to interact with the stars face to face. It's very different from just seeing them on television.
As an Israeli, this conflict is an inevitable part of life here. Throughout my life, it's been important for me to understand and get to know the people on the other side. As a kid, the only things I knew about Palestinians were either from the media or from home. I never met them face to face. As an Israeli, I had to serve in the Israel Defense Force, and there my interaction with Palestinians was in a specific context. Later, as a grown-up citizen, I wanted to understand from a different angle. I realised that there's not one truth, that there are people on both sides. And just like when I was a child and interested in finding things out, I want to hear how children from the other side experience life.
Me personally, my story? I've come from a background in which I used to fight the Israeli occupation. I mean, I attacked Israeli soldiers. I hurled Molotov cocktails at Israeli soldiers, and I used to throw stones at the Israelis. And I spent 10.5 years in an Israeli jail. I was arrested when I was 14 years old. This was how I learned to speak Hebrew and English and so on. This is why I'm very motivated in working towards creating change for future generations, so that the kids have a better future, and also so that they don't experience the same sort of life I've had. This is why this project is very important to me personally.
You can live your whole life on the Israeli side, or the Palestinian side, without knowing the child or the person that lives on the other side. This is the reality. Through this interaction, we allow them to initiate some sort of contact. When we have trips together, when we go to summer camps together, when we're in training for a long period of time, you see that the barriers and the difficulties there in the beginning start to slowly disappear.
Through this project, we aim to give our kids here a better future. The Palestinians and the Israelis, as well as those throughout the Middle East in general. We hope that there will be change. We want to be part of it. We want to contribute to this change, and I'm convinced that this change will be brought about by people like us. Nobody's going to bring us change from outside.